Hi everybody, Sharon from Mad Paper Crush here. Welcome to part 3 of our travel notebook that I'm making for friends that are moving away. And so far we have actually created our base and gotten all our base papers down, got some nice folding pockets here, have a little belly band here, and we've made a nice big pocket in the top. So now I wanted to start decorating because these pockets are a little bit plain, and then also creating some ephemera to go in inside of it to take along with them. So to do that, I went ahead and created some ephemera that I thought would be fun. So this page here is going to be the license plate game. I actually, here, I'll show you what, I must have printed this, I don't know how many times. So like I printed it on painter's paper. Nick the Booksmith had mentioned that this was a nice paper. It's not quite as light as like the deli paper or the tracing paper, but I just didn't feel like it was bright enough on that. And then this one, I love the way this sounds. This is tracing paper that I've coffee dyed. But once again, it's very light. And if you're doing this in the car, you want, you know, the states barely show up there. So I think we're going to use this for the license plate game. And then I have a book cover, an old book cover that I thought would be fun to use to make our little diary that we're going to put in our belly band here. And then I just created some tickets and some stamps down there, and then also some quotes that I'm going to be using for embellishing the journal. And then the other games that we're playing is I have some Mad Libs. So I made up some stories and put them on some cards here that we're going to use inside the book. And then I also have some Would You Rather or conversation starter cards that I thought would be fun to do in the car. It's a couple going together, so I thought they might have some fun being able to, you know, talk about some would you rathers or things like that. So that's those. And all of this I'm going to put in a link down below for you to go and get yourself if you'd like to use these to make your own travel notebook. And I'm including a page of, in case you wanted to do different would you rathers or something like that. I have the ones with the words on and ones that are blank that you could decide to do, you know, something on your own if you wanted to as well. So to get started, I'm just going to cut everything out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut everything out, and then I'll come back and we'll get started and we'll get decorating to make this thing look really nice. So hang tight. I have most everything cut out, and I'm probably going to be doing some collage and things on the pieces here. So let's just go ahead and jump right in so that this isn't too long. Okay, so I wanted to put, I have some quotes here, some travel quotes here, and I wanted to put one on the front. And this one by Ralph Waldo Emerson is nice. Though we travel the world over to find the beautiful, we must carry it with us or we find it not. So I think that's the one I want to go on the front of this book. And I think I'm going to try to do just a torn look here. There we go. So, and I have some little scraps of fabric that I thought would be fun to put under it too. So that, and then I have some more paper from the same travel pack that I used. And I think that might look nice here as a backdrop. So I'm going to find my pencil, maybe not. And I'm just going to mark kind of where I want this cut out. And then we'll just trim this down real quick. So I don't, at this point, like, I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing. I know I want to do some collage, and I know I want to use some of the bits of ephemera and things that I have, but I don't usually collage live on video. So bear with me as we go through this here. So I'm going to round these corners, and I think I may even add some stitching to this. And of course, I got to do a little distressing on everything. All right, I really like how that looks. And I think I like those little stringies. So yeah, I think that would be nice. Just a little bit of stitching there to kind of hold everything together. Maybe just on this side and maybe even on this side. And then that'll be a nice little front label for us. I think I might need to cut that down even more. I think it's a little bit big. Yes, that's much better. Okay, so that's going to be our front label with some stitching, and then I'm going to glue that down. I think I'm going to try and do all the collage pieces first so that we can kind of go through that, and then after I do that, then maybe I'll do the gluing down and sewing down and whatever else I decide to do. So I'm also putting this in the packet. It says live with no excuses and travel with no regrets. And once again, I am going to tear this one out. And I went ahead, it just printed on white paper, and I went ahead and put some distressing on top there. And I'll re-distress the edges once I get it torn out. So this might be nice here with something. And I kept all of my my other little papers, and actually I could maybe use some of these that I'm not going to be using. That might be fun because then it'll have some of that nice texture under there. This one might be a little dark for that. But let's tear a little bit off and see what happens. Let's see. And I like that. We probably need to add another paper for a little bit of contrast. And I could even maybe use one of my stamps here. I printed out a couple of these just to have them. Not sure how I feel about this one. Maybe I need a different shape. And I think I might need a little fabric on this one. So I have another, this is just a little strip of muslin, but this might be nice. And I love to tear fabric. You always just have to put a little notch one way or the other, and then you can get a nice torn edge there, which I love. this on top. Maybe that's too much. I think my fabric is too big now. I kind of like this edge, the way it's torn there. Kind of like that. And I'm not sure I'm gonna stitch this one together. I may just glue it. So we'll leave that one there. And then let's see, on this other side, we could do something just real simple. Maybe a couple of stamps. And actually, I really like that. Just real simple with a couple of stamps on there. But now I can use that piece that I tore. Maybe this guy needs to go over there. I think that looks good. And this one I'm definitely just gonna glue down. And then we have over here, maybe use another one of the quotes. Ooh, and this one says, "My road calls me, lures me, west, east, south, and north." And that's John Mansfield. I definitely like that. And maybe we can just use just a simple piece of fabric. I do have some washi tape here too. Maybe we could add in. I don't think I want to cover up my quote. I can put that on there. Might be nice. And then I could do just one little stitch maybe through there. Cut this down a little. And of course I'm going to need to go in and distress everything. I like that. And then I think I'm going to use the last quote, well, one of the last quotes. I have two more. I'm going to use this small one. Up on the line there. And maybe what I'll do is for this one's miles and miles of lake and forest, miles and miles of sky and mist. So since they'll be traveling a long ways, I thought that would be kind of nice. And I have some of this leftover blue color. That might be a nice little pop of color in there. Maybe we'll put that at the top. Yeah, and this one I don't want to get too busy because it is kind of small anyway. I like the little pop of color, but I think it needs something else. So maybe we can put it this way. Yep. think I like that better. All right, and I have this one last quote, which I was thinking about using this one on the inside here. So it, you know, it kind of won't be visible unless you flip open these envelopes. And I might use this colored paper. And I'll do the same thing I kind of did on the front. I'll make a little border here, just so it kind of looks nice. And you guys will have to tell me in the comments how you collage, what's your, I don't know if you have go-to techniques or tools or designs or something. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out, I think, a lot of times. But I always enjoy doing it. So I think that's, you know, a plus. All right, so now that I have, I think all of the embellishments that I want to do, for starters, I mean, I'm going to be doing more. Ooh, see, now I'm losing it. I knew I shouldn't have done that. See if I can remember how I figured that out. Okay, and then this is going to go here. Yeah, so it'll just sort of peek out, maybe I'll put it right in the middle. So it'll just kind of peek out there. And then I'm going to glue that one down as well. I'm going to distress this and glue that down. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do all of the stitching and things that I want to do so that that's done. And then we can start putting everything together, and then we'll start working on ephemera. So we're almost to the home stretch, you guys. I'll be right back. Okay, back again. So I got some stitches on this collage piece, and I just kind of stitched that one on, and I stitched this one together. So I think we're ready to go. Now, if I can just remember where, you know, I thought I wanted everything, that would be the next brilliant move. So I know which one I wanted on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. And I'm just going to, because since I didn't back stitch any of my stitches, I'm going to make sure my glue is covering the threads on the back of this piece real good. And I'm just going to center it on there. Press that down. And then on the inside here, I think we had our Canada and our stamps. And then I think on this side, we had this. Obviously, I can only do one at a time. A lot of dried glue here. This paper is so light, so I have to be careful with that. But I like that it's a little flat. We gotta watch our Watch how much paper we're putting down, or we're going to end up with a really thick journal. Just make sure I like the way that looks. And these stamps, I just cut around them as best as I could, and then just distressed the edges, so that kind of hides a little bit of the white paper that's in there. I think it makes them look nice and antiqued. Okay, and then this one, I believe we had something like this. So let's do this piece first. I'm gonna try and lay that on its side. Oops. I'm gonna make sure I have that the way I want it there. And then we're just gonna put a little bit of glue on this fabric, because I don't mind if it's, you know, a little bit loose. I think that'll add some texture to it. And then we'll add our little quote. And I like the way that turned out. And let's see, now we were going to do this one here. So first we'll put down this little blue piece. Oh, don't put it upside down. There we go. And then we were just going to add this one right here. And I just added a little stitch in there. Maybe. Definitely going to need to get some more glue. This glue is, it's so good, I love it, but it's not real cheap. So I always want to use every little bit that I can, so I'm not wasting it. And I think I heard Gail Agostinelli, I think she adds a little bit of acetone to hers when it gets like this to get some more out of it, or if it starts getting a little too jelly. So I may have to try that as well. All right, and our last piece here is our little hidden quote that's going to go behind our flip up pockets. I'm going to try not to tuck those ends of the band in. I was thinking about it, but I don't think that's going to be a good idea because it might make too much of a lump in the back here. So we'll just leave those out. All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. It's getting there now. The only thing we have to do is we have to put in our ephemera, make the rest of our ephemera and put it in. So that's what we'll do next. There's a couple of specific things that I want to do. The first of which being I cut out the Mad Libs from the pages of ephemera, and I know I want to get those in one of these envelopes, and I purposefully did them at different sizes so that they would kind of all show here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to round the corners of them all. And then I'm probably going to distress them. Uh-oh. Let's see if my corner rounder can make it. Maybe it needs to be emptied. I think it's jam full. Yeah. Oh, still doesn't want to work great, does it? Maybe just that one got stuck in there. Okay. And the inside, I'm going to do relatively plain. Once again, I just want to be sure that I don't make it too thick. These people, you know, they're not journalers, but so I don't, you know, expect that they'll want like a ton of, you know, different things in there, but I just wanted to have something for them to be able to use on the way down. And of course, I'm putting them in here before I actually distress them. I just want to kind of see how they look. And I love the way they look in there. So I am going to add some distressing though. They definitely need a little of that. So I don't know. Do you guys get car sick in the car? I know some people do. And so they may not be able to do much of any of this while they're in the car. But it might be fun to do if they stop for, you know, a dinner break or, or something like that. It might be fun. So my expectation is for them to just enjoy the gift, enjoy the ride, and hopefully think of the good times they had when they lived, you know, near us up here. So that's really my goal. And I think this distressing is going to be good. Just, I don't know, it just makes everything look a little vintage, a little more from a time past. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put these in here. And the random numbers that I used on them, the one thing I did do is I did the first two numbers were like number 1 card, number 2 card, number 3 card. And then the rest of the numbers were just random. Okay, done. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, I know I also want to make a little travel diary. So, and I found this book cover, and it wasn't quite the size that I wanted it to be. So I did kind of shrink it down and cut it off a little bit when I made it. But it's the perfect size to fit in our journal. It's going to go right here by the belly band when we get that done. And so what I want to do with that is I'm going to make like a little binding here. So I just have this fabric that I painted with regular craft black paint. And so I'm going to make like a little, we're going to put a little bit on here and then have it go around to the back. And that's going to be our little book binding here. And then I'm just going to use some coffee dyed paper for our insides of the book there. I'm going to make a little, just a small signature to go on the inside there. So to do that, I need to measure. I think I'm going to do that this way so that I can mark it. And I don't know if my pencil is going to really show on here, but let's try it. I think it does okay. So this is how long I want it to be. And actually, I think I want to do 2 marks because I am going to cut, you know, like maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches to make sure I have enough. I just drew on the front there. Okay, and so for this, I'm just going to use let's see, I'm going to line this up with my mat here, and I think I'm going to do 2 inches just to be sure I have enough. And I'm just going to use a straight edge for this craft knife. Okay. And then I have to cut it down. So once again, I'm going to line it up with my, to hopefully keep a straight line there, or as straight as I can. Okay. And let's see how we did. I think that looks good. And then I'm gonna need to trim it down. I think I definitely have too much. I don't, like I said, I don't want it to be real big. I just want to maybe do, you know, 5 or 6 pages in there. It's not gonna take them 2 years to get down there. It's just gonna take them a little bit. All right, so I think I can cut off maybe 3/4 of an inch. There we go. All right. And I think before I glue anything down, I'm going to distress them, and let me just double check, see how we did here. Yep, and I don't mind if more goes on the back. I want to be real sure that my Bits of Travel title there is showing. So let me do a little distressing here. So I'm just going to real lightly just give it a little distress. I'm always never really good at doing this just because I end up showing the circles. I think I push too hard sometimes, and then you can see sort of the circle outline from my dauber. So trying to be light-handed here, but it's never easy for me. All right. So that's nice. Just knock the white off a little bit so that it doesn't show so much. All right, let's go ahead and put our binding on. And the printout has little book corners on there, so just want to be careful that I don't, that I have my book the right way. Okay, and I'm going to leave, looks like about 1/4 of an inch. I think I'm going to maybe try to do 1/8 of an inch. And actually, where's my washi tape? I think I'm going to tape these down so that they don't move on me, because they will move on me. Some of you, I think, are probably better at that than I am, but I have to tape them down because they will definitely, and they're already moving on me. Look at that. Maybe I should put 2 on there, huh? Okay, now we're good. Okay, so I'm just going to add glue to my little strip of fabric here. And I am going to just try to spread it around with my finger a little bit so it's not gloppy, and I'm making sure that I get, you know, all of the whole piece of fabric. All right, now I'm just going to very carefully put it down on the bits of travel side first so that I can make sure it's straight, because that's the side that's going to be seen. There's glue all over my fingers. And then I'm going to put it down on the other side. And I think I'm going to have to take this up quick because I did glue through the whole thing. And I don't want it to be glued down to my mat here. So this little spot I glued. All right, I'm going to gently take my tape off. And then we are going to put our inside pages together while this dries. So I think I'm going to try to move this just a little bit if I can. I think it's already glued down. I might have to cut that edge off a little bit. It's a little bit big on the one side. I didn't quite get it even. Oh, wait, no, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. So we're going to leave that face up to dry there. And then we'll go ahead and make the pages. So I want the pages to be about 1/8 of an inch smaller than our booklet so they don't stick out. So the booklet is almost 3 3/4, it looks like, long. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. So my pages I want to be 3 1/2, or I'm sorry, 3 1/4 inches wide, and I'm going to double it because I'll fold them. So we want that to be about 7 1/4. So 3 1/4 by 7 1/4 I think would be perfect. So let me get my cutter out here. Let me put this over here so I have to have coffee. It's the morning right now for me, so I must have coffee. All right, so we want it to be 7 1/4 long. So first I'm going to cut that down here. Ooh, my paper's bending. Doesn't want to lay flat for me right now. Okay. Oh. Look at that! I'm going to get a new one. I think that does tell me that I probably do need a new blade, huh? All right. Let's see if I can get this one to work without cutting, without ripping. Oof. This is not good, y'all. It really doesn't want to work. All right, so I think what I'm going to do, instead of using this thing, I think I need a new blade, I'm going to go back to a straight edge. We can do that. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. Just about there. Hopefully I have a pretty straight edge. And because this is, you know, the junk journal style, I'm not going to worry too much about that little tear on this one. The other one was pretty big. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to cut my pages 3 1/4 inches wide to fit on the inside. And I'm sorry, this is going to take longer than I thought, so I'll speed this up. Okay, I decided to do 4 pages, so I did cut one more of the same size for our page here. So I'm going to just fold all of these in half to make a little signature here. And I'm just gonna burnish them a little bit with my foam folder here. Make sure they're nice and crisp folds. Okay, so now when we put them all together, this is pretty dry, which is good. Now we will put them in here for our little booklet. And let's see. Now I hadn't completely decided how I wanted to do that, to put them through. I was thinking about stapling them, but I may just go ahead and sew them in, because I think that would be just as easy here. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to eyeball the holes. Get a telephone book here. So I'm just holding everything together, making sure my signature is where I want it, right in the middle. Actually, I may put a couple of clips on here. So I just put a couple of little binder clips on there to hold everything in place for me, because I don't want things to slide around. So I am just going to eyeball. I'm going to do just like a little pamphlet stitch. So I'm eyeballing the middle. Make sure I got through. And then maybe about 1/4 of an inch or so, maybe a little more, down from each side. And that's perfect. And then I'm just going to take some of this cotton thread that I have. I think I'm going to try and use that to sew everything together. And I have these bookbinding needles. They're way too big for what I need, but they'll help me get things through. So I'm going to take my thread and just do it about 3 times. That's going to probably be way more than I need, but I think 3 times through would be good. And then I'm going to drop everything. Get rid of this. Let's see if I can get this. Thread is pretty thick, so we'll see if it actually goes through here. If not, I might use like a yarn needle or something if I can't get this through. Looks like I got 2 of the 4 through. There we go. I got it through. So now I think I want my ends on the back side. I think they'll look fun kind of sticking up there. So I'm just going to start at the back and pull my yarn through. And the holes that I made were pretty small, so it's probably going to take a little bit of work to get them through. I'm going to leave a nice long tail over here. Oh. And then I'm going to go back through one of the edge holes. And while I'm doing it, I'm just going to make sure, you know, I have things nice and flat. And then for this one, I'm just going to go back up through the other end. So it goes past the middle and up through the other end. To wiggle this through. Okay, well now we're back on the inside, and the last stitch for this will go back through the middle so that the two ends will be together for me to tie off. Okay, and I do want to be sure everything's nice and tight, so you can see we have our two little stitches on the inside, and we have a nice big stitch on the outside with plenty of extra left over, so I probably only needed to do maybe 2 times. And I'm going to put my needle away because I'll lose it. I don't know if your craft room looks like mine when you're done a project, but there's stuff everywhere. I can't find anything. Okay, so before I tie it, the one thing I just wanted to mention is that I have the 2 ends on either side of my middle stitch, and I want to do that on purpose so that when I tie them, it'll actually tie, it'll knot down that center stitch and keep it nice and secure. So I'm going to give that a nice tight knot there, and then I think I may try to put a little bow in this. I mean, that's not going to need it with my knotting, but let's see. All right, and I can take my binder clips off now. And we have our little bits of travel notebook. I think that turned out really nice. And this will go right in here like that. Ready for writing of any kind. All right, let's move on to the next thing. The next thing I wanted to do was create a couple of altered paper clips. I think it would be nice to be able to, you know, keep up with any ephemera that you get on the trip. So, you know, if they have any tickets they want to just keep on as memorabilia and things like that, they could use paper clips inside of the journal to do that. So I did print out a couple of extra sets of some of the stamps and the tickets that are in the kit. So I think I'm just going to start with these two. Okay. So for this one, I decided I want to use some of this fringy yarn to go behind. I think that would be fun on this other one. The colors kind of match and they're sort of brown and vintage looking. So I'm just going to cut a little piece of that, and same thing, decide which is your front and your back, and put your paper clip on, and you can put the long side or the short side out. I like to have the long side out because then there's more room, more paper clip room for use. So I'm going to, actually, I think I'm going to try to glue the fringe down on the flat side first and see if that's any easier. So I think I want to kind of have it sticking out all over the place. So we'll see what happens here if I can make that work. So I'm just going to try to line up the fringe so that it's sticking out. And I may even go around a couple times, maybe go back the other way. And then we can always trim this up once we're done. And it's sticking to me all over the place. All right, so now I'm going to put glue on my paper clip side, and I'm just going to make sure I get that paper clip real good and all over here, because it's got to get down into, let me just make sure I have my thing right side up here. And once again, I'm going to hold it in the middle, pull out some of these little fringes. Make sure it's sticking good. And then we'll let that dry. And I am going to come back and trim that up because that's pretty wild. But I like the way that looks. I kind of have some fringes sticking out there. Okay. Now, while those are drying, so those are good, I do have some extra stamps and things left over. So I may just embellish some more of the journal with them. It would probably look nice to have some stamps, you know, in some other places and things. So we'll think about that as we go. But now I wanted to work on my Would You Rather and conversation starter cards. So I have 6 of them, and I was thinking I would put them in these our little fold out pockets. I think that would be a good place for them. But I want to be sure they don't get lost down in there. So I think I'm going to add something to the ends of them. And I'm not sure exactly what, but I'm thinking a rivet with some ribbon might be perfect because I have plenty of room along this side for them. And I could just put, you know, a rivet somewhere on the side, put some ribbon coming out of it, and then they'd be easy to pull out of the pocket so that they don't get lost down in there. So I have this small crocodile. This is, doesn't say, but it says crocodile on it. So this is just the handheld one. And then I have a bunch of different kinds of 3/16 inch rivets here. So I think I'm going to use, to kind of match, I'm going to use these little brassy ones. Let's see. I'm going to need 6 of them because I'm going to do 1 in each card. So you can kind of see them there. They're just little brassy. And once again, I don't think I'm going to measure them because I don't want them, I definitely don't want them on top of each other because then, you know, it'll make the corner real big or something. So I'm just going to put them in one of 3 places along the side. So first, let me decide which ones I want to go in which pocket. So let's see, I have a couple that are a little bit plainer at the top, so I'll put one of those in each one. I have ones that are really decorative. I'll put one of those in each one, and then ones that are sort of a medium decorative. All right, so these 3, they're about, I think what we said, 3 1/4 inches wide. So I could put one down, let's see. I just use my pencil, I think, to mark them a little bit because obviously I don't want to go over the words either. So this one has the most room at the bottom, so I think I'm going to put this one in the bottom corner here. And then this one I think has the most room at the top, so I'm going to put that about maybe right here. And then this one will go for the middle. Okay, so now our rivets will be, you know, on different places so that it doesn't end up making our stack of cards too thick. So to use this handheld one, I'm just going to punch the hole, and I need to use the big hole because I'm using the 3/16 rivets. And I'm just going to punch them all while I'm here. And then we'll go ahead and put the rivets in. And let me make sure I have my 3/16 set up, which I do. So this one you don't have to move anything because when you punch it does both things. It either punches a hole or sets your rivet. So I just need to line this up and give it a nice squeeze. That was even a little too much. So be gentle. You can always go back and punch again. You can't unpunch. That was better. There we go. All right. So there's my 3 cards. And I think I might even use my yarn again. That might be fun because then it'll match my paper clip there. And I can even let's see if I can get these together. Let's see if one layer is going to do it or if we should put 2 through. Whoops. Put it all the way through. And I think I was just going to tie a tie in there just to make sure that it holds. And I think 1 is going to be plenty. I was thinking about putting 2 strands through, but I don't think I need to. These are really hard to just tie in a knot because there's so many fringes. I think we got it. Oh, you know what I forgot to do, you guys? I forgot to distress. So let me go do that quick. And so this is what we're going to do though. We're going to do just a little tie, and I'll probably cut these off just a little bit because they are a little long there. But then when we put them in, we'll have a nice little fringe sticking out the top to make it nice and easy to pull them out when they want to use them. So, and it'll add a little texture to the bottom there too. So I am going to go and distress all of these since I forgot to do that. And I'm going to punch the holes in my other 3, and then I'm going to put my fringe in, and then I'll be right back. Okay, back again. I have my little conversation cards done. I did go ahead and distress them all and added our rivets and added in our frilly yarn. And I really like the way they turned out. I think they're going to be perfect. So in my folder here, I'm just going to take 3, one that has a rivet at the top, one that has one at the bottom, and one in the middle, and just add them into our little fold out pocket here so that the fringe sticks out. Just like that. Now you can see we're getting full. And remember, I was worried about the elastic being too loose. Well, we're filling it up, so this is good. All right, so a couple other things that I wanted to do. I decided I wanted to do some stamping on these tabs. So I have a couple of different stamp sets that have like a typewriter feel, which I think sort of keeps with the theme here. And I have these bigger ones that are all caps, and then I have these little tiny small ones. And I was thinking it might be fun to put the word date here so that they could write, you know, the date of their trip in there or something. And then on the outside here, I thought it might be fun to do destination. So I just did a little quick test stamp to make sure that the words would fit where I was thinking they would fit. So I think destination will be fine here. And I'm going to put date on this side just at the end. And I think I'm going to use my distress ink just because I've been using it, you know, throughout. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take my stamps, and I'm not going to worry that, you know, they're probably going to be a little bit out of alignment and, you know, a little bit shaky because this is handmade, and that's, you know, what it should look like. So in this, I am just a little concerned that the words aren't showing up that much because this was distressed so nicely, but that's okay. Yeah, so it's a little bit hard to see there, but we'll let it dry a little bit and see how it does. And I'm going to do the same thing with Destination, and hopefully this is a little bit darker. I think I am going to try black for Destination. And we'll worry about the other one later. So I'm just going to do this word Destination here. I'm going to try to do my best to line things up. You know what? I think I'm going to put this right here because you know what'll happen? I'll pull out the wrong letter and spell it wrong. E-S. Destiny. And I do think I like the black a little bit better. It does show up a little bit. Yes, I like that. So I am going to try to go back over this, and I know it's not going to be perfect because there's no way I could line these little blocks up, but we'll just go for close and be good with it. It's not too bad. I like it. All right. So let me just move these out of the way. So we have our destination, we have our date, we now have our paper clips, and I did have a couple more things I wanted to put in. So the last thing that I wanted to put in was the license plate game. So I have this map that I printed out, you know, a million different times trying to figure out what it looked best on. I liked it best on the white paper, but I don't like the white back because I am gonna have to fold this up to put it in this, this pocket here. So I was thinking, well, maybe I will try to take some of this paper and put that as a backing for it. So I'm gonna give that a try and see if that'll work. And because, you know, these files are digital, I can always print them out again if I need to do that. So, and actually maybe what I'll do is I'll glue first. And I am gonna sew, so I might just use my glue stick for this. Since I'm gonna sew, I'm just gonna do the middle. Oh, you'll have to pardon the shaking. I'll try not to put it on like that. And I'm just going close to the edge, not totally up to the edge, because like I said, I am going to sew around the outside edge. All right. And I can use my bone folder, flatten things out a bit since I got a nice little wrinkle in there. And I took a class with Seth Apter, and he said glue stick works because of pressure and heat. So whenever I use glue stick, I always try to get my hands on the project and give it a little heat, give it a little pressure. Sorry about the shaking, to hold it down. And I'll do this side too. And then I'm just going to cut it out. And I'm going to say it because I'll probably forget it. You know me. I'm going to distress before I go to sew. And then I'm just going to put a little stitch around the outside of this and see how I like it. And for the game, I was trying to come up with something they could use, you know, instead of just a pen. I mean, you could totally just take your pen or a marker or something and mark off the states as you found, you know, license plates with the different states. But I was thinking it might be fun to add like a little, you know, sheet of stickers or something that was a little, you know, different. But I didn't come up with that yet. So I was trying to do some on my silhouette and I cannot figure out how to do that. So I'm still working on it. I may just end up going to find a pack of stickers that's small enough to fit in the pocket, that's maybe just some circles or something like that, so that they could take off a sticker and, you know, add it to the different states as they find those license plates. So, all right, so this is cut out. I like the way that looks on the back there. I am going to give this a little distressing. And then I'm going to give it a quick sew. And then we'll see how it looks when we fold it up into that pocket. Maybe just add, actually I think I'm just gonna, I want to fold the map that I used was 2 separate pages in a book, and so there's a little bit of a crease in there, and so I think I'm just gonna, I want to fold on that crease to give it a more authentic look and give it some distressing right down that crease. So yeah, so it definitely looks like, and I'll probably do some more folds and distressing too, but I know I wanted that one in there distressed because of the way the picture was anyway. All right, let me go give this a quick sew and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I added a little stitch all the way around the edge, just a small zigzag so that I didn't cover up my, my lettering and things like that. I have my ends here. I really like how it turned out. So I think now what I have to do is figure out how I'm going to fold it to fit in this pocket, because I can't just fold it in half. It's too big for that. But I think I do want the, I want the map showing. Ooh, sorry, my brain just stopped working there for a minute. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is maybe try to do it in thirds. And I'm going to do it backwards so that our license plate words are right at the top. And that's okay that my crease is down the middle. I like that. Let's see. This has to go almost back into itself, I think. Yes, I think that would be perfect. Yes, I like it. So now, before I finish, of course, since I have these other creases in here, I am going to go ahead and add some distressing to those creases as well. And we're getting there. All right. So when you open it up, it has those nice creases in it. Makes it look like it's been laying around forever. And this goes right down in there. Move my glue stick out of the way. Okay, so we have our license plate game. We have our fun stories, our Mad Lib type stories. We have our notebook here. We have our conversation cards. And then we just have a nice little quote throughout. We have quotes throughout the book. So I think the very last, oh, and we have our paper clips. Don't forget our paper clips. So I am going to put, this is a pocket right here, and I didn't put anything in that. I may put some other ephemera. I found this ephemera from Ilopa online, and I really liked the old currency. I thought that was really fun. So I was thinking about maybe just cutting that out and throwing those in the pocket as just, you know, some fun ephemera to have in there. But I also really like tickets, so I might use some of those as well. So I might put some of those in there. But I am going to put one of my paper clips on this pocket here. So we have one there, and then I may just put the other paper clip. Oh, and I have to do one more thing. So we didn't put anything in our top pocket, and we have to put something in there. I have a little expense tag that we're going to put up in there. So let me just fold this guy up. We'll put our other paper clip on this pocket to give that a little look there. I like that. And then I will go get, I think I left it on my printer. I will go get the tag that we're going to do for the very top hole there. So I will be right back to get that. Okay, this is the last page in the ephemera pack that I wanted to use in our travel notebook. So I'm just going to cut it out, and this is actually, I tried to make it big enough so that all we would need to do to make this a nice tag for the top of the travel notebook is to fold it in half, and then we could glue it together. And you know, if you like stitching, like you know I do, we could stitch it together. So I'm just going to make a score mark here. So this is 7 inches wide, so I'm going to make a score at 3.5 inches. And give it a fold. And one of the side has expenses on it, and the other side has important dates. So I thought it might be fun just to, that they could mark, you know, either keep track of different days that they were traveling, or maybe even they have already started talking about, you know, calling the electric company and the cable company to get things going when they get down there. And I see this didn't quite cut exactly straight, so I'm going to get my straight ruler out here and see if we can just even this up before we go any further, because I really don't want that white side sticking out too much. And you guessed it, needs a little distress. And this one, I think I am just going to kind of quickly go around the edges of the inside, just in case something hangs over. It won't, you know, be as obvious. And for this, I am going to cut the corners in like a tag shape, I believe. And then we're going to add another rivet to the middle so that we can put some ribbon or something on there to make it easy to get in and out of the pocket. And give our edge a nice distress. Okay, and now I'm just going to use a tag that I have to get my corners measured up. So basically you just line up the top and the side of the tag to whatever you're cutting, and then you just snip that little end off, and then you can do the same thing on the other side. line up the top edge and the side edge, and then snip that corner off. And then you have a nice tag shape there. And I'm going to mark where I want my rivet to go. And I do kind of want this to be in the middle as much as I can. So if I line this up with my grid here, I think we said this is going to be 3.5 since it was 7 long. So 1, 2, 3.5. So half of 3.5 is 1.5 1/4. So about right there. And I'm okay if it's not perfect, but I do want it pretty close to the middle. And I'm going to do it on this side since this has more of the words and stuff around that I want to be sure I'm not messing up. Okay, so the other thing that I just wanted to mention about this is that the 1878 calendar, this is an actual 1878 calendar, it is the same calendar as 2019. So even though this says 1878, they could actually use this to say, okay, well, you know, today is May 5th or May 6th, and it's a Monday. So I thought that was pretty cool. And there's a lot of other dates, a lot of other years that have the same calendar. You know, it's just a cycle. So anyway, I thought that was cool. All right, so let's get our glue out and get this glued together. All right. Fold that down. And we'll let that dry for a second before we do our rivet. And while that's drying, maybe I do just want to make sure that we're fitting good. Oh yes, fitting perfect up there. Okay, so let's let that dry just a little bit. And I just wanted to talk a minute about what I decided to use sari ribbon. So it's like a silk ribbon. I think that it would match nicely with some of the states on the map here. So this is the ribbon that I'm going to use to be sticking out of the top. So that's what we're going to put in this rivet once we get that done. So, all right, let's go ahead and pull out. I could use this stuff again, but let me tell you, this stuff's hairy. So I've already got enough of this around that I probably don't want to use it sticking out of the top because it'll get everywhere. Oh my goodness. That was no fun. All right, I'll clean these up later. All right, and I'm going to use the same one that I used for all my cards, which was the little brass looking ones. And they're all over my table now. All right, and then let's go ahead and punch the hole. I feel like this is not quite centered, but. And then we're going to put that there. Do I want it on that side or this side? I think I want it on this side. And line it up. Give it a gentle squeeze. And then we have a nice rivet in there. And then I am going to do kind of a loop on this one. So I'm going to put the two ends of my ribbon together and put them through together, hopefully. And then once I have them through, I'm going to take the ends and put them through the loop that I made there. So I have a nice little loop at the top there. And then I'm just going to trim these ends up a little so that they have a nice little slant to them. And then this is ready to go too. We can put that right in the top. All right, So there's just a couple little things that I'm probably going to do. I'm probably going to go back in, maybe add some of these stamps in here just for a little bit more decoration, maybe on the side here. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I might even do the tickets over here as something. We'll see. But I'm just going to add in a couple more decorations, and then we are going to be done. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I certainly had fun making this travel notebook. And if you liked this, please subscribe to my channel, give this a thumbs up, and also down in the comments, I have links to get your own travel ephemera kit. So that includes the quotes, it includes the story cards, it includes the expenses and important date ticket card, it includes the license plate map, it includes the stamps and some of the ephemera there, the stamps and the tickets, and it includes these little car cards and some bigger car cards if you'd like to use them for something, and all of the quotes and things. So please go and get your travel notebook, and I hope that you make one, and if you do, please share it on the socials so that I can see it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.